Food recalls happen almost every day. Our food system is closely monitored for safety and quality. When there are problems with food products, they can be taken out of the marketplace, off grocers' shelves, and out of your pantry or refrigerator to help keep you safe. It is up to you to know how to identify a recalled food and what to do if you have one. This session, brought to you by the Georgia Department of Agriculture and UGA Extension Family and Consumer Sciences, will cover why foods are recalled, how to find out about food recalls, where to get information on current recalls, how to identify recalled foods, and how to report problems with foods. Food recalls occur when there is reason to believe a food may cause illness or injury if it is eaten. Recalls are often initiated by the company that manufactured the food when a problem is detected through routine monitoring. They can also be initiated by a food distributor. These recalls, where companies take foods out of the marketplace, are referred to as voluntary recalls, which is a term you sometimes hear in the news. In some cases, food recalls may be requested by government agencies, FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, or USDA, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, or sometimes by state agencies, such as the Georgia Department of Agriculture. A survey done a few years ago by Rutgers University found that Americans see food recalls as important, but they don't think that they will be directly affected. In fact, the survey found that most Americans say that they pay close attention to news reports and recalls. 81% of the survey group even said that they tell others about recalls that they have heard about. But fewer than 60% have ever checked their homes to look for a recalled food item, and 12% of people admit to knowing they had a recalled food product in their home, and they ate the product anyway. Paying attention to recalls is important because some foods can be a health hazard if eaten. Foods may be recalled because harmful bacteria have been found in a product that could make consumers sick if they eat it or if they handle it, like a contaminated pet food, for example. Foods can be recalled because an allergen has been found in a product that it was not supposed to be in. They can also be recalled if a product has been mislabeled or misbranded. One example of mislabeling would be for the product to contain nuts or eggs, which are allergens, but these ingredients were not included or disclosed on the label. An example of misbranding that could cause harm, for example, is a can of crab meat labeled as tuna. In both of these examples, people who are allergic to nuts, eggs, or shellfish could have severe allergic reactions.
Recalls are divided into three classes based on the level of the hazard they pose to our health. These classes are Class 1, which is the most serious, Class 2, and Class 3. If product is dangerous or defective in such a way that it could cause serious health problems or death, then the recall level is a Class 1. If the product might cause only a temporary health problem or pose only a slight risk, then the recall level would be a Class 2. If a product has a problem such as a violation of labeling laws, when it would not cause severe reactions, or violating manufacturing laws, but the product, if eaten, would be unlikely to cause any harm to health, then the recall would be a Class 3 recall. Examples of Class 1 recalls would be situations where ready-to-eat products are contaminated with disease-causing microbes or pathogens that could cause foodborne illness or food poisoning, as most people refer to it, or could cause death if eaten. These would be pathogens like Salmonella, Listeria, E. coli 0157H7, or Clostridium botulinum, for example. Another example of a situation that would require a Class 1 recall would be allergens in products where they are not supposed to be, and cases where allergens like milk, eggs, peanuts, tree nuts, crustaceans, fish, and soybeans are not listed on the product label, so could cause serious health problems or death for those who are allergic and unknowingly consume the contaminated product. Class 1 recalls would even be initiated if products were found to contain choking hazards for certain populations like infants, toddlers, or young children. Products found to contain high levels of heavy metals, like lead, would also result in a Class 1 recall because of the danger to pregnant women and their unborn babies and to young children.
In 2015, there were about 240 recalls of food products regulated by the FDA and about 25 products regulated by the USDA. This may seem like a big difference, but remember, FDA regulates everything except meat, poultry, and processed egg products. The majority of these recalls were due to allergens being found in the food without appearing on the labels, followed by pathogens or harmful bacteria contaminating ready-to-eat food. There are several ways that you can find information about food recalls. Recalls may be announced on television or on the radio and in the newspaper. There are websites that you can get additional information on recalls. In Georgia, you can visit www.agr.georgia.gov/recalls.aspx. This will take you to the Georgia Department of Agriculture's recall website. Additionally, the site www.recalls.gov/food.html is a great source for information on food recalls. You may also see signs on grocery store shelves when products have been removed from the shelves so that customers will see and know to check products that they have recently purchased. You might also receive a letter from a membership club or get a notification on your receipt at the store. In all of the recall announcements, instructions will be given about how to identify the specific products that were affected and what to do with the recalled food. When you hear about a recall, you should check in your home to see if you have any of the recalled food. Examine identifying marks on the product to compare to those in the recall notice. For example, you'll want to check the product name and the specific brand. Look at the container code numbers to see if they match those listed in the recall notice. Check the container size to see if the size you have is affected by the recall. Remember, just because Jerry's Jiggly Jelly has been recalled, it doesn't mean that every jar in every size has been affected. You must look at the recall notice and see if your product's information matches that in the recall notice.
Any food product can be recalled. What should you look for when you hear of a recalled product? For meat and poultry products, either fresh, frozen, or canned, and even in-store deli meat and poultry products, you will examine the product you have to look for the product name, the brand of the product, the establishment number where the product was produced. This may be within the inspection seal or somewhere else on the package, the weight or size of the product you have, the lot number on the product, and the date code on the product. You will compare the information on your product with the information in the recall notice. If there is a recall issued for fresh fruits and vegetables, what you look for depends on how you bought the product you have. If you bought bulk produce without a label, then you will need to check with the store where you purchased it. For packaged produce, you will check the brand, the best if used by date, and the product code on the package. You will compare the information on your product with the information in the recall notice.
For frozen food products, you will look for the following information on the package of the product you have: the product name, the product brand or manufacturer, the product weight or size that you have, the product code, and the date code, which may be best if used by date, on your package. You will compare the information on your product with the information in the recall notice. When you hear about a recall of a canned product, you should look at the products you have in your home by examining the product name on the cans that you have, the product brand or the manufacturer, the product size in ounces that you have purchased, and the UPC code on the product that you have. You will compare the information on your product with the information in the recall notice.
For all other types of processed foods, when you hear about a recall, examine the products you have in your home by looking for the product name, the product brand or the manufacturer, the product weight or size of the product you have, the product code on the package you have, and the date, it may be a best if used by date, on the package. You will compare the information on your product with the information in the recall notice. If you hear of a recall of in-store prepared or deli products, and you have purchased items from that store, then you should examine the products you have in your home. Look for the product type, such as a salad or a sandwich, etc., the product brand or store brand, the label information as listed in the recall notice. You will compare the information on your product with the information in the recall notice.
If you find that the information on your product matches the information in the recall notice, and you do indeed have the recalled food, then what should you do with it? Most importantly, do not eat or taste the food. Take the product back to the store where you bought it from. An alternative is to dispose of it carefully in a way that humans and animals cannot eat the food. Do not give the product away to food banks. Do not give the product to your pets. If you have not already opened the product, then do not puncture or open cans or open packages of the recalled product. Always wash your hands with soap and running water for at least 20 seconds after handling a recalled food product. What should you do if you think you have gotten sick from eating a food product? Visit your primary care physician or an emergency room if you are suffering from any severe symptoms. If you are having an allergic reaction or are suffering severe symptoms you believe are related to a food product, you should call 911 if it is an emergency. If it is a non-emergency situation, then call or visit your doctor. If you believe you may have a foodborne illness, the only way to officially confirm that it is foodborne illness is to have the doctor take a culture or a biological sample, which can be tested to determine what specific pathogen is causing your illness. Keep remaining products that you have. If it is a cold product or a cooked product, then label it "Do Not Eat" and put a date on it. Then refrigerate the product in case it is needed for testing. Contact your local health department to notify them.
If you have a problem with a food product, how should you report it? All foods except meat, poultry, and processed egg products, like liquid pasteurized eggs or dried eggs, fall under the jurisdiction of FDA. To report a problem that you believe is an emergency, like illness, allergic reactions to ingredients not listed on a label, or choking hazards in foods, contact the toll-free FDA emergency number at 1-866-300-4374. For situations where you have a problem with food, but it is not an emergency situation, Then contact the FDA non-emergency complaint number for your state. The Georgia number is 404 253 1169. A list of numbers for reporting in other states and territories can be found on the FDA website at www.fda.gov. If you have a problem with meat, poultry, or processed egg products, call the toll-free USDA Meat and Poultry Hotline at 1-888 MP Hotline, which in numbers is 1-888 674 6854 to report it.
For more information on food safety, visit the websites for the Georgia Department of Agriculture at www.agr.georgia.gov and UGA Extension at www.fcs.uga.edu/extension/food.